Well, Angus, here in New York City for a very busy period in the Premier League summer series across 3 different cities. How much are you looking firstly to the football and also for a chance to Everton to engage with supporters here in the States?
Yeah, it's great from 2 perspectives. I think from a football perspective, it's really important. I think to get all the boys together, to get the new players integrated into the squad, for the manager to have some good quality time with them. That's the first priority. We'll be ready for the new season. And David and the backroom staff have spent a lot of time making sure that the technical preparation is going to be right. And that will always be front and foremost of all our pre-season preparation. However, on the other hand, really good opportunity to engage with supporters here. I've met lots of Evertonians out here already. They're excited for us to come. America's a really important market. And you saw from open training sessions, great for them to meet the players firsthand and for the players to realise just how big Everton is.
Yeah, you mentioned about that when the club has a long and proud association with North America, even before the likes of Tim Howard and Landon Donovan played for us. So how important is it for us to get a chance to meet that passionate fan base that love Everton so much?
Yeah, so definitely Landon and Tim have made a big impact, and I think there's many Evertonians have been formed through that connection as sort of early pioneers of Americans playing in the Premier League. But it's important that they stay engaged. It's important that they can connect with the club. I think in the long term, commercial revenues from the US are going to be really important. It's a key market. So to be out here to get a chance to meet the fans firsthand, and for them to get a chance to meet the players, and more importantly for them to see us in what will be effectively almost Premier League action with some 3 big preparatory games in 3 different cities. It's a great opportunity.
You mentioned about how key of a market America continues to be, because the sport just grows and grows here, doesn't it? So as shows with the Premier League being here, but for us to be out here as well, from a marketing perspective, it is crucial as well.
Yeah, I think America's changed as a market. I think probably 10 years ago, everyone was asking, how do we make soccer big in America? How do we give it a foothold? I think, that's no longer the question. The question is, how do we make sure that the Premier League gets a, fair share of the growing American football market, with the World Cup just around the corner, with the MLS growing, with the growth here in women's soccer. It's really important that the Premier League are front and centre and, fight our territory. And I know we have fantastic, backing from our Premier League partners, NBC. They do a great job in broadcasting the league here. Lots of passionate fans, but it's a market we need to continue to work on and commercialise.
We mentioned at the start just how busy this is for the club in a kind of 10 days or so, but your first day included meeting our architect of our world-class new stadium, Dan Meis. How was that, and how was it to get to chat to kind of how his vision has become a reality?
It was fantastic. I got to see the original stadium model. I got to see the design he drew, initially on a napkin. Hugely passionate about the club, hugely passionate about the stadium. I think he's done a wonderful job. We're going to move into one of the best stadiums in world football. It's going to be a home befitting of a club as great as Everton. He's been right at the heart of it. His passion was very clear to see. He's going to be over for the Roma game. He's then going to be over again for the Brighton game. It was really real honour to meet him and the man who was an inspiration behind something which I think is going to take Everton to the next level.
And then mentioning that Roma game, the double heading, which includes a legend game on the 9th of August, and Brighton 2 weeks later, final touches at Hill Dickinson Stadium. So we're just getting the preparation for, as you say, is going to be such a world-class home.
Yeah, lots of work still going on at Hill Dickinson Stadium. We're slightly ahead of schedule. The finishing touches are being put to every element. So the team had the first chance to play a competitive game on the pitch. So we've had some feedback on that, improving that. The hospitality facilities are being worked on as we speak. The fit out, we've had lots of behind closed doors test events to check the restaurants. The concourses are being branded. The outside of the stadium, the crests are being put on. The Hill Dickinson signage will be installed. So we're looking in great shape for what's going to be a fantastic festival of football when we play the 2 games against Roma.
And then 2 weeks later, how momentous of a day will that be? The first competitive fixture for Brighton, and just shaping what is such an important part of our future going forward now.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great to get back to Premier League business, and I think after the celebrations of opening the stadium and the fans being able to see their new home, firsthand, the job's going to be about winning that first home match and setting the tone. And we've talked about importing the legendary Goodison atmosphere and making sure that lives and breathes in Hill Dickinson, and that's what we're expecting from the fans. So when we cross the white line for that first game, it's all going to be about getting 3 points.
And when we spoke in your first week as Everton CEO, you mentioned that key appointments, top class appointments would be made, and that's since been backed up for a new football leadership team that includes Nick Cox, James Smith, Chris Howarth and Nick Hammond. They all join with really impressive CVs. So how important is that new structure and their qualities and what they're going to bring going forward?
Well, I'm really excited by it. I'm really proud that 4 individuals of such great calibre have decided that that their future lies at Everton. They bought into the potential of the club. To take people from clubs like Manchester United, Manchester City. Actually, the acquisition of Insight Sport, which I think is going to step change our analytical capabilities and give us a real competitive advantage. And then also for Nick Hammond to join, who I think is one of the best football traders around. I think it puts us in a really good position. We've got a broad team. They've got specialist skill sets. They're working very hard on the market as we speak, and I think we're going to be in really good shape by the end of the window.
And you talking about the window, referring to obviously we've made Charlie Alcaraz's move permanent after his loan the second half of last season. Striker Tiano Barry, highly rated, has come in. Mark Travers, an excellent goalkeeper to add competition with Jordan and Harry Tyrer as well. And like you say, work continues very much behind the scenes to bring more new names in before the window ends.
Yeah, I think it's the most important part about my presence on this trip is I get to spend time with David, pretty much all day as we work our way through the window. I know that supporters will be, always get frustrated by the speed of business in the transfer window. Everybody would like to do the business early, and we would have ideally liked to get the business early so the team can integrate and train together. But it's more important that we get the right players. That's why the market, tends to happen towards the back end. That's where the majority of the business is done. I think we're well on track. We're pleased with the business we've done before. I think the process is solid. I think we've created a structure where we're not going to make mistakes in the transfer market, which is key. Still lots of work to be done. Still lots of encouraging conversations. And I think we've always said we want to be judged on September the 2nd in terms of the business that we've done. And I'm sure by that date we'll be in a really good position, and we'll have a team and a squad which is going to excite the fans, and as we've said from day one, is going to be looking up the table and not back over our shoulders.
And as well as the new signings, obviously a big statement made by the club in the summer with Jarrad Branthwaite, 5-year deal. What did that mean to get a player of his calibre and of his standing to commit his long-term future to the club?
I think it was absolutely central to our plans. Jarrad was unsurprisingly the subject of interest from across the Premier League, top Champions League sides. We think he rates for us as one of the best centre halves in the division, and he's still so young and still has so much potential. So securing his commitment, and he was committed. He wants to have a future at Everton. He sees the direction that the club's going in. Was the biggest and best news that I think we could deliver. But I think it's a real signal of intent from the ownership and from the manager, and should give the fans a real confidence about the direction we're moving in.